The first time the blind artist almost lost everything was not when darkness took her sight, but when the world stopped waiting for her. On a freezing morning in a quiet American town, her trembling hands searched for a paintbrush that had rolled off the table, while the unfinished canvas before her felt like a silent accusation. Outside, life rushed forward without slowing down, and inside her small studio apartment, hope felt dangerously thin. She did not know it yet, but this moment of near surrender was about to collide with the life of a man whose heart had long forgotten how to feel. Before the story pulls you deeper, take a moment. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and unexpected miracles, please like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that need them most. Her name was Grace Miller, a gifted artist from Ohio whose work once lit up local galleries with warmth and emotion. Years earlier, her paintings had been praised for their light, their delicate balance of color and meaning. But life changed abruptly after a rare illness stole her vision in her late 20s. The doctors had been gentle but honest, explaining that her blindness was permanent. In a matter of months, Grace lost not only her sight, but also her job, her independence, and the quiet confidence she had built since childhood. Friends tried to help at first, but as weeks turned into years, their visits became fewer, their promises softer, until Grace learned the painful rhythm of being forgotten. Still, she painted, not because it was easy, but because it was the last place where she still felt like herself. She memorized the layout of her tiny apartment, learned the textures of her tools, and relied on memory and emotion rather than sight. Each canvas became an act of defiance against the darkness. But painting blind came with challenges that no amount of passion could fully solve. She needed help setting up supplies, organizing materials, and managing the basic tasks that once came naturally. Pride kept her from asking for too much, and fear kept others from committing fully. Eventually, she placed a simple handwritten notice online, asking for a part-time helper. She did not expect much. She was used to disappointment. Miles away in a glass tower overlooking downtown Chicago lived Ethan Caldwell, a man whose name carried weight in boardrooms and financial headlines. As the CEO of a powerful investment firm, he was known for his sharp mind, colder demeanor, and ruthless efficiency. Colleagues respected him, competitors feared him, and employees avoided personal conversations with him. His success had come at a cost he rarely acknowledged. Years earlier, a tragic accident had taken his wife's life, leaving behind grief he buried beneath endless work. Over time, emotions became distractions, and compassion felt like a liability. He believed control was the only thing that kept pain away. One evening, after another long day of meetings and silent dinners, Ethan scrolled mindlessly through his phone, stopping unexpectedly on a local community board post. It was Grace's request for a helper. Something about the simplicity of it, the absence of pity or desperation, unsettled him. She did not beg, she did not explain her tragedy, she simply stated her need. Against his own logic, he saved the post. The next day, without fully understanding why, he drove hours away from the city to the small town listed in the ad. Grace did not know who would show up when she heard the knock on her door. She expected perhaps a college student or a kind neighbor. Instead, she sensed a presence that felt distant, controlled, and unfamiliar. Ethan stepped into her apartment, taking in the modest space, the smell of paint, the quiet determination that seemed to hang in the air. He did not offer sympathy. He did not soften his tone. He simply offered his time. To Grace, it felt strange but solid, like a hand extended without conditions. Their early days together were awkward and restrained. Ethan helped organize her supplies, drove her to appointments, and ensured her workspace was functional. He approached every task like a problem to be solved efficiently. Grace noticed his precision, his silence, and the emotional walls he carried. She did not try to break them. She was too busy fighting her own battles. But something subtle began to shift in the quiet hours they spent together. Watching her paint without sight challenged everything Ethan believed about strength and limitation. She moved with trust in herself, guided by feeling rather than certainty, and that unsettled him more than any business risk ever had. As weeks passed, Grace's art began to change. With Ethan's steady assistance, she attempted larger canvases and bolder themes. Her work grew deeper, heavier with emotion, reflecting loss, resilience, and faith. Ethan found himself lingering in the studio longer than necessary, absorbing the unspoken stories in her paintings. For the first time in years, he felt something stir beneath his carefully controlled exterior. He did not name it. He did not allow it to grow too loud, but it was there. Grace, on the other hand, sensed a quiet sadness in Ethan that reminded her of her own darkest moments. She understood grief in ways words could not express. Without seeing his face, she perceived his pauses, his breathing, the way his energy shifted when certain topics surfaced. She never asked directly. She simply treated him with a gentleness that expected nothing in return. That kindness began to crack something inside him. The turning point came when Grace received an invitation to submit her work to a major gallery exhibition in New York, one that could redefine her career. The opportunity thrilled and terrified her. She feared public failure, criticism, and the exposure of her limitations. Doubt crept in, whispering that she was no longer enough. Ethan saw her struggle and, for the first time, stepped beyond logistics. He encouraged her with unwavering belief, not as a CEO assessing risk, but as a man learning how to hope again. He arranged transportation, coordinated with the gallery, and stood by her side through every moment of preparation. The night of the exhibition, Grace's paintings drew crowds not because of her blindness, but because of their honesty. People stood silently before her work, moved by the depth of emotion that transcended sight. Ethan watched from the edge of the room, feeling something he had avoided for years. Pride, not in an achievement, but in a person. Grace's success forced him to confront his own emptiness, the life he had built without connection and the love he had shut out of fear. After the exhibition, life did not magically become perfect. Grace still faced daily challenges. Ethan still carried scars, but something lasting had changed between them. He no longer saw helping her as an obligation. It became a choice rooted in care. Grace, in turn, found strength not only in independence, but in allowing someone to stand beside her. Together, they discovered that healing was not about fixing what was broken, but about accepting it fully. As time passed, Ethan made decisions that surprised everyone, including himself. He stepped back from relentless work, restructured his priorities, and invested in programs supporting artists with disabilities. Grace continued painting, her work now infused with a quiet peace that reflected her journey. Their bond remained grounded in mutual respect and faith, shaped by shared struggles rather than romantic fantasy. It was a connection built slowly, honestly, and deeply. Just before the ending, I have a special request for you. Please comment below with one word that describes how this story made you feel. Your words matter more than you know. In the end, Grace learned that blindness had not taken her vision, only changed it. Ethan learned that a cold heart could still be warmed, not by force, but by presence and purpose. Their lives intersected not by accident, but by grace, reminding us that sometimes the help we offer heals us more than the one who receives it. If this story touched your heart, moved your spirit, or reminded you of the power of compassion, please engage with this video by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Your support allows more stories like this to reach those who need hope today.